Guys, do not ask me what Zoe 101 is supposed to be, because I have no freaking idea. Okay, stream's public. Trending in Canada, Velma. I think I'll go see what the hell that's about off stream. I heard something about, like, Velma from Scooby-Doo getting, like, a new movie or show. And it was, like, woke as shit. I don't know, I'd have to just do my own research. Starts at 8:30 p.m. I'm gonna just be too busy looking at AI-generated Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Avalanche, so... Avalanche versus Blackhawks? Neither of those are our home team, so... I mean, even then, I don't fucking watch hockey, so... I guess we're just gonna, like, actually scroll back up to... Not quite the very top, but from where I started last stream. In case I just want to give a couple more takes on some of the cards I might have just... I don't know, maybe just missed some information on, like... I think, for example, like, one card I asked, like... Well, I said, like, there aren't really, like... I can't think of any strategies that just take advantage of the fact you have low life points, but then again, like, archetypes like Dynamorphia exist, so clearly that's a thing. I said this card was okay. I mean, like, if you just change the name, yeah, it's fine. Obsidian See the True Draco King. I said no to this one because... Okay, I just want to look at the photo. So yeah, like, typical, like any, like, tribute monster, True Draco, you can just summon it with continuous spells and traps and play some monsters. So where I said this was a little bit too much was the fact that, well, popping 3 cards at spell speed 1, it's not overkill, but it's definitely a really good effect. Maybe not necessarily against, like, decks like Tearlaments and whatnot, but it's good. But just having unaffected by monster effects, other monsters can't attack, so this thing will lock you out of attacking until you somehow get rid of it. And I guess except for kaijus and lava golems and whatnot, you basically have to have spell and trap removal, or this thing's gonna just stop you from, like... Or this thing might just stop you dead in your tracks. Yeah, you cannot beat over it. It literally prevents you from attacking. It's got 2800 attack. Sure, you can play like a monster stronger than that, but if it doesn't have protection from just being popped, well, this thing will just pop it anyways, and then proceed to beat your face in. Yeah, so be able to pop 3 cards a turn, on a soft once per turn, mind you, so just find a way to get this off the field and back on the field, or somehow summon a second one, and you're popping up to 6 cards. And not to mention, like, you simply cannot attack, and this thing shrugs off every one of your monster effects. It's basically like a... I read these 2 sentences, and now I think of, like, a less toxic version of Mystic Mine. At least you can use your monster effects. At least you can use them in the first place, but still. Still feel like all of those effects on the same card is a little overkill. Velma trending, and the Velma AI-generated Yu-Gi-Oh card. This is a total coincidence. Oh yeah, this thing has like 2 effects, but neither of them work, and even if they did, at first glance they both appear to help your opponent, so... Oh yeah, this is the card where I said, like, you can't, like, are there any archetypes that just benefit off of you just having low life points that can just abuse that? And then, like, someone in the comment section pointed out Dynamorphia as one of them, and then I remember, oh, Dynamorphia is a thing. But all of those cards get your life points very low, much quicker than this ever can, and more importantly, they actually do something. The only text on this Pepe the Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth here is the activation requirement and the maintenance cost. There's no effect on it. If you want to just interpret you a Kickstarter backer as... If I just click here, I just want to, like, view the image. Yeah, I just want to, like, put this up, like, on... Just put this up on, like, the screen, full screen, basically. You can basically just interpret this as, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. But return it to the top of the deck. Doesn't say like in any order or the same order, so I don't know, interpret that however you wish. So in either case, this would be a card that would just, on top of that, be on a flip effect monster, which just makes it even slower to try to activate. And yeah, pretty sure we still live in like a game where typically like it's in everybody's best interest to just clear the board of their opponent's cards and then go to the battle phase. So destroy this before you attack into it to give it a chance to flip face up. Unless you're playing other cards to force it to flip face up, but to just look at the top 3 cards of your deck to put them right back, not worth it. So yeah, honestly, like, just reading this as look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put them back in any order. I'd okay the card, but yeah, I would literally never see play. I mean, he's got okay attack, but I don't know, it actually needs to do something more than just be a 1700 beater. Also, something I missed is that it's literally impossible to actually use the second effect on Winged Dragon of Twilight here to special summon it on the trigger of, like, yeah, when a monster, like, gets destroyed by battle while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, except it can't be special summoned. It can only be special summoned by removing from play 1 Dark Dragon monster in your graveyard, so you literally cannot summon it by its own other effect. And even then, like, the effect was pretty lackluster because just banishing Dark Dragons out of your graveyard, especially since Bestials exist, is easy enough already. I'm gonna just quickly get Yugipedia open here. Because I want to show you, like, another, like, similar card that just redirects attack targets in a sense. Which does state in the rules, like, you cannot make your opponent do attacks that aren't actually legal, such as, you cannot force your opponent to start attacking their own monsters with this. Cannot force monsters to attack directly if they cannot do so already, nor force monsters to attack monsters on their controller side of the field. Or themselves, perhaps. So, if we were to interpret Dudley's Duel as such... Okay, I think I have to just click on the image here. Click directly on the image. Alright, that gets it much bigger. If we were to interpret this as such, assuming that the attack that would be caused by Dudley's Duel must still be legal, we would have to assume that you, let's just say you want to use this against your opponent to just redirect their attack. You would have to actually have at least like 2 monsters. One that's the current attack target, and then 1 other monster on your field to be the new attack target. So, if this is how the card is intended to be functioning, so yeah, assuming it's just completely impossible to just make one of your opponent's monsters attack one of your opponent's other monsters, or, even better yet, force it to attack itself. This would be a perfectly normal card. Considering it can only actually do stuff, like once a monster starts declaring an attack, it would be pretty underwhelming in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, just assuming, like, the attack targets must be, like, legal, like, in the first place. Because yeah, I think it's like basic Yu-Gi-Oh! 101. You can't just, like, attack one of your own monsters with one of your other monsters. So assuming that, it's fine. But yeah, it was just way more fun to picture monsters attacking themselves. Like what kind of paradox are we thinking about here? Yeah, in like 4 days, I just remembered that... I don't remember exactly what number it was, but there was like an Xyz monster called Stealth Kraken that just makes all your opponent's monsters water monsters. I already said no to printing this, and I'm gonna just double down on that because... This hypothetical card that probably doesn't exist. And if you have that, say, and Stealth Kraken on the board at the same time, just literally nuke your opponent's board to summon this card that won't start a chain. Just nuke their board and they won't be able to respond to it because this doesn't start a chain. Like their entire board of monsters because they're all treated as water with Stealth Kraken up. Well, I'm looking for, like, the Xyz monster. Number 4 Stealth Kragan. This thing. Okay, this is apparently the anime version of the card. Like, the real version of the card makes every monster on the field water attributes. This card here. Combine it with Ice Jade the Crystal Dragon Warrior guy. And then just get this random hypothetical card and you can just completely wipe your opponent's monsters because they're all water now under this. So I actually read through some of the comments on this one, and then it just clicked. I don't think you can literally just drop this on your opponent going first if they have, like, no cards on the board. Because I remembered hearing things like, Raigeki cannot be actually activated if there are no monsters on the opponent's side of the field to blow up in the first place. Like, the card's effect, like, actually needs to do something. Like, both parts of this effect, the send all cards from hand to graveyard and the destroy all cards, both of those need to be able to resolve. So what I'm basically trying to get at is, if there are no cards to take off your opponent's board with this, you simply can't activate it. But even then still, it's such a powerful effect that against like fucking 99% of decks, if not more, this is basically still an auto win. And if you want to still try and use Resonant Greed going first, I don't know, play stuff like DD Guide, and there's probably like other cards out there that can just force themselves onto your opponent's field, so that will just basically cause your opponent to start having cards. Yeah, if your opponent has like no cards on their board to start and you want to just remove all their cards to also be able to send their hand to the graveyard, just normal summon DD Guide, then Resident Greed, and they're basically fucked. And yes, this guy can apparently be searched by reinforcement of the army, because why not make him a warrior? So yeah, if you want to run 4 copies of DD Guide, you technically can. I mean, sure, it's like, well, sure it takes 2 cards, but the effect is just so worth it. Of course people would just be looking for every way they can to abuse a card like this. Assuming it somehow ever got printed, which is never gonna happen. You can't just slam it going first. They're not. Your opponent's not going to start with cards on the field, but still, it's you activate this and resolve it. You basically win. So no, again, still don't print it. Oh yes, the field spell that searches out one of the most degenerate floodgates in the game and protects it from its own destruction effect. Ah, yes. That Corone Hedgehog. I keep clicking, like, on this part of the screen by mistake. I mean, the effects actually makes perfect sense here. It's just, why would you want to negate the effects of your own face on monsters? It's fine to print, but it's basically just gonna be, like, worth less than the cardboard it was printed on in the first place, let's just say. I just say it would literally be, like, worth less than the cardboard it's printed on. Yeah, this card is fine except for the effect that literally cannot be resolved. I'm just gonna say no to the... I'm just gonna say no because it still has, like, the effect that you literally can't use on it, but just take off the... if the Link Summon monster is Xyz Summon part, and then this is a perfectly, like, normal card here. Just take that off and it makes perfect sense. Oh yes, the special summon from the deck card. Search up any monster floodgate you want. Oh, for example, against Tier Elements, just go get the end of Anubis, then they can't use the effects of their cards in the graveyards. So yeah. Just like another example of just some floodgate you can just search into to basically just auto-win, because it literally stops your opponent from playing. Psychic King Giantess, I said no to this card, feeling like just getting like to remove, like, potentially remove, like, an opponent's resource off their board on top of negating his effect, and on top of that, like, putting 2 more bodies on your board to basically just go into an easy rank 8 is a little bit too much. But you can just discard this by other means, and still get the 2 bodies if they're in your deck. Oh yes, this is a level 8, so it is perfect trade-in fodder if it hits the graveyard. Discard this, draw 2, and then just put the other 2 copies of this onto your board to do whatever with. Probably, like, the first thing I'd do is just go into my best rank 8. And I said no before even thinking about that. Probably so many good ways to just discard this. Yeah, like, there are also just staple cards that make you discard as costs. Twin Twister, Super Poly, like, those also just, like, synergize well with this, unintentionally. Or, I don't know, all the dangers, particularly, like, just, no, not just, like, the level 8s, but all the dangers in general, if they make you discard this, you're still gonna get, like, the 2 extra bodies on top of the danger you're gonna be summoning and drawing a card anyways. So yeah, this thing's even crazier when you think about, like, all the other cards that exist that just let you discard. Dangers, trade-in, just even, like, generic staple cards that discard as cost and they're actually good enough to use. There's, like, so many ways to abuse this, I say. Like, you don't even have to, like, actually, like, hand trap your opponent. And let's just say if you open 2 of these, there's not even, like, a once per turn clause anywhere on this card. So if you open, like, 2 of these, you can actually just fire off both if you want. Alright, so that's like the roughly like 15, we'll say roughly 15-minute review of just all the cards I looked at last stream where I did this. Alright, so let's actually look at cards I haven't seen before. The hell is Fun Apes NFT reveal? I thought the board monkeys were on their way out. Yeah, last I heard, NFT's fucking bricked hard. Right, so what is this deck of friends? Add 1 Macrocosmos from your deck to your hand. Oh, sweet. Just more tier limits hate. You'll love to see it. If you have 2 or more cards in their graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 card your opponent controls. Shuffle it into the deck. Also, you cannot add cards from the graveyard. You cannot add cards from the graveyard to where? Your hand? Your deck? Just add cards in general from, like, your hand or your deck or your extra deck? Just that you cannot add cards from the graveyard in general until you have shuffled your hand into your deck. Why the hell would you want to shuffle your hand into your deck? You can only use each effect of deck. Okay, there's a hard once per turn on each effect. Add 1 Macrocosmos from your deck to your hand, which if you activate, cards will stop going to the graveyard, funnily enough. So that's interesting design right there. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Target 1 card your opponent controls. Shuffle it into the deck. Then you can't add cards from the graveyard until you've shuffled your hand to your deck. For the rest of the duel? Because it doesn't say until, like, end of turn. I mean, this effect is pretty stupid powerful just to have, like, on a card that, I don't know, might, for example, get milled by, like, a Tyrellman's player. They might just mill this, then basically just have, like, an extra interruption. Just banish this, shuffle a card into your opponent's deck, so if it's immune to being destroyed, just, no. It just gets shuffled into the deck instead. And then this part just confuses me way more than it should. Cannot add cards from the graveyard. I guess for the rest of the duel until you shuffle your hand into your deck. So add cards from the graveyard, so let's just say you want to, like, fusion summon a Tyrellman's monster. You wouldn't be able to do that under this card, right? You wouldn't be able to add cards from the graveyard. I'm gonna say no because this part's too ambiguous. It was definitely a nice try, though. Oh shit. 2 text boxes. Alright, so when it's a spell or trap zone, once per turn you can target one magician card in your other pendulum zone, destroy it, and if you do, place one magician pendulum monster from your deck or extra deck into that pendulum zone. Not a hard once per turn, by the way, so I'm not like a master of pendulums, so not sure how to judge this. Stargazer Magician plus one magician monster. If this card is fusion summoned, you can target one spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Star Bright Magician once per turn, and then a soft once per turn. Right after that, you can reveal one Magician Pendulum monster in your hand. Then target one Pendulum monster or spell in your graveyard, except Star Bright Magician. Add it to your hand. Also, you cannot activate monster effects until the end of your 4th turn after a card was added to your hand, except Pendulum monsters. So basically the rest of the duel, right? I was just also quickly checking to see like how my camera quality is, if it's like choppy. Doesn't seem to be choppy. If you pendulum summon a pendulum monster, you can destroy this card, and if you do, place one magician pendulum monster from your deck or extra deck in your pendulum zone. And if you do that, place one magician pendulum monster from your hand or field in your pendulum zone. So you can basically set both pendulum scales in one shot. I feel like just skipping this one because I don't know, just I know very little about pendulum monsters. I honestly just can't be asked to like understand like so many different mechanics. Like for example, like these cards aren't supposed to ever like go to your graveyard if they leave the field like face up or something. They just go into your extra deck face up. And then you can summon from your hand as many pendulum monsters as you want, according to your scales, but if they're face up in the extra deck, they have to be into like extra monster zones or zones link monsters point to. And like there's like half fusion, half spell cards, half Xyz, half spell cards, half synchro, half spell cards. It's just honestly too much for me to like want to care about. Noble Knight of the Steam Train. Okay, we got another level 5 vanilla here. 1900 attack. An electric warrior that has achieved the highest possible noble rank in the noble table of the Steam Train. Alright, it's just some random vanilla. That's probably not gonna see play. Rocket Dragon. One rocket monster. Okay, so Dragon Link would theoretically have a card. If this ever came out, they'd have another card to use. If this card is Link Summon, you can add one Polymerization normal spell or Fusion normal spell from your deck to your hand. Okay. I'm pretty sure Dragon Link doesn't do that, though. Suddenly, for some reason, they want to just start Fusion summoning, I guess. You can target one rocket monster you control, special summon one rocket monster from your hand or deck whose level is equal to the number of rocket monsters you currently control, not counting this one. And if you do, attach this card to that monster as material. I'm guessing you'd probably have to like Xyz summon using the monster you just summoned that attach this card as material to actually have the material mean something. I guess? You can only use each effect once per turn. Interesting. If this card is Link Summon, just add any Polymerization normal spell or Fusion normal spell. I kind of just want to say no, because I remember the last time there was a certain Link monster running around that just basically let you just use whatever like Polymerization or Fusion spell you wanted. Well, it was way more generic to summon than this, so... Yeah, Vert had extremely generic summoning requirements. So yeah, a good chunk of the first couple months of 2022, yeah, basically like up until like the Anaconda got banned, it was like whoever could play DPE was basically just summoning Vert, dumping Fusion Destiny, dumping Celestial, dumping Dasher. It got old really quickly just summoning DPE just because like any two monsters just lets them summon a hard to out boss monster. Also lets them dump a card that will just let them draw two cards on a later turn. if they run out of hand, which that probably happens often too, by the way. Yeah, I just got so tired seeing that, like, I got so tired that quickly once I realized just how good Verte was. So I'm still thinking about if I want to say yes or no to this one. Yeah, what especially stands out to me is just go grab any fusion spell or polymerization. I don't know, what's the worst that can happen? We just ban another card? Oh god, is this the name? Is that the name? A musical instrument that can say whole innumerable times in a row. Originally simple stone, it was cut from a larger material. Its cutting edge now powers metal and bone. Its musical power has now been completely unleashed. Shinobird's song. That's the name. Okay, I'm not gonna read that again. I already just want to say no because of the name. Just literally being, like, nigh impossible to fit on the card. And again, like... yeah, this card would literally be, like, 100% impossible to write on your deck list, so I really just want to say no straight away, but let's actually read the card. Once per turn, you can target one face-up spell trap card. Destroy that target. Not even the hard once per turn. Oh, only targets face-up. Only targets face-up spell and trap cards, though. When destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can banish one other face-up spell trap on the field. Okay. It's destroyed by battle, though, so you have to get to the battle phase for that to happen. Banish one other face-up spell trap on the field. Set one spell card directly from your deck. Any spell, by the way, which you can then activate on the same turn, so... there's, like... yeah, it just lets you search literally any spell, so... I don't know if that's also a little overkill, but I already said no because the name is literally 100% impossible to write down on, like, KDE deck list. Like, if you want to go into regionals or YCS, you gotta fill out a deck list, and it's basically impossible to just write this card's name down. Luminous Dragon level 7. Which is a level 7, okay. The AI is somewhat smart. Dragon. You can tribute summon this card by tributing 2 monsters. Well, no shit, it's a level 7. Of course you can! This card gains attack equal to the total levels of all monsters tributed for its tribute summon. So if I tribute, like, 2 level 4s... oh, this will go all the way up to a nice... cool 3008 attack once per turn during the end phase. If this card's in the graveyard because it was tributed for the tribute summon of an opponent's monster. I'm trying to think how that would actually happen. Because it was... okay, I would assume, like, I don't know, the opponent just uses something like Change of Heart to gain control of this, and then they tribute summon their own monster in 2023! You can add one Red Eyes monster from your deck to your hand, except Luminous Dragon level 7, which is not a Red Eyes monster. You can only use this effect of Luminous Dragon level 7 once per turn, okay. Yeah, you can make this game, you can make this card gain, like, I don't know, like, at most, like, 24 attack points. Unless you're just increasing the levels of your monsters beyond 12 with other card effects. You can make this go all the way up to 3024 attack. That's not overkill. And then... way too unlikely this is going to come up. This is just so niche. I don't know who's tribute summoning in 2023 except for, like, Flunder players. I mean, I guess print it. I mean, the effects, like, all make sense. And then let's see destroy structure here. Continuous trap. face-up attack position monster with 0 attack your opponent controls become unbreakable. So, basically, does that just mean they can't be destroyed by battle or card effects? And your opponent's monsters can't be destroyed? I can't think of any synergies with just not just actually destroying your opponent's monsters. I don't know. I can't think of any synergies. Reasons why you want to make your opponent's face-up attack position monsters with 0 attack not be able to be destroyed by battle or card effects. I don't know. Actually, no. It just occurred to me. Your opponent's monster is 0 attack. So whatever you just attack your opponent with, let's say your monster's got 3,000 attack, is going to do 3,000 damage, because none of that's reduced by the monster's attack, because it's literally 0. So rather that monster getting destroyed, then, I don't know, maybe the opponent having, like, a stronger monster I need to run over first to continue, like, doing direct attacks. Just attack into the 0 attack monster that can't be killed in battle. I guess just replace Unbreakable with can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, because that's what I imagine Unbreakable being. And this will be some really funny niche card. And I have no idea if it'll ever see play. Not likely, because it's a trap. It's probably got to be doing way more than that. Okay, so we summon a rank 4 with 3 level 3 monsters. Already an interesting start. You can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, destroy it. If this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, the Abyss Actors like link some. I don't know if they have any. I don't think they have any link monsters in their archetype, not that I know of, but you just like link summon anything basically. Set Abyss script spells from your hand or deck, I guess, onto the field, up to the number of Abyss Actor pendulum monsters you control. So you basically have to just already have like a shit ton of cards on the field to just set a shit ton of cards on the field. And this thing has to be sent to the graveyard as link material. I don't know, this is interesting. A little funny to see this rank 4 take level 3 monsters. But other than that, like, even still, like, just because, like, something's a rank 4 or rank 5 or whatnot doesn't mean it'll necessarily always take, like, level 4 or level 5 monsters. Because, like, yeah, for example, there's Exo Sisters Magnifica, which you just summon with 2 rank 4s instead of, like, 2 level 8s. It's fine. I'm pretty sure it's fine. Array of Revealing Light. This is a field spell. You can activate one of these effects. Add 1 Lightsworn monster from your deck to your hand. Okay. I haven't really seen like much from Lightsworns in a long while. They really haven't been doing much in a while. Tribute 2 Lightsworn monsters even if they're face down. If you do, special summon from your deck 1 Lightsworn monster with 200 defense. Do they have any, like, 200 defense Lightsworn monsters? I don't remember if they do. I'm just seeing, like, recommended cards. I want to just look at all the Lightsworn monsters. Just to, I don't know. See if any of them have, like, 200 defense. Because I'm guessing maybe the AI just picked this up off some Flamvel card. Or some Laval card, because... Actually, no, I think they probably picked that up off of a Flamvel card. I know, like, all of those, like, most of those have, like, 200 defense. And I think some Laval monsters do, also. So, do any of these have 200 defense, or... No. There's probably, like, more Lightsworns and whatnot anyways. Than just these. I'll just look at these, just to save time. 1,000. 1,000 defense. 1,000. Okay, there's Lila Lightsworn Sorceress. Wolf has 300. So Lila and probably maybe like 1 or 2 other Lightsworn monsters I don't remember. Or Lila could be the only one for now. Or immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 Lightsworn monster. And this is a hard one per turn. Sure thing. Fox of Thestre. Alright, we got another, like, level 2 vanilla. A female Evelyn monster who only appears when a fox monster is depicted on her face. I don't know what the fuck that flavor text is, but it's just a 600 attack vanilla. It's not gonna ruin the game. Stardust Chronicle Lies? Liz? I'm just gonna say less. Okay, it's a level 10 that takes 1 tuner synchro monster and 1 or more non-tuner synchro monsters. I don't know, I'm guessing maybe, like, let's just imagine Formula Synchron, that's like the first low-level tuner synchro monster that comes to mind. And then some non-tuner synchro monster. Well, assuming Chaos Ruler isn't banned, could use that. If discard synchro summon, you can draw 3 cards. Then you can destroy monsters your opponent controls with less attack than this card. And that should wipe out a lot of them, because that's got 3,000 attack to start with. Draw 3 cards when you synchro summon this. Thankfully, that's a hard once per turn. Once per turn during your opponent's turn, when your opponent activates a spell card, you can negate the activation. If this card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, you can destroy 1 card on the field. Considering the tough summoning requirements, I think it's fine. Sure, this is kind of like a board nuke against your opponent and you're drawing 3 cards, but the materials to actually summon this thing to your board, they're not just like generic, like anybody could just slap this in their deck and just go hog wild with it. Like, you kind of already need to just be like playing a lot of synchro monsters to begin with. Tuner synchro monsters and non-tuner synchro monsters, so I'll say yes. Draw 3 is crazy enough, but I'll still say yes because the other effects aren't really too batshit crazy. Even more so, like, I can't imagine how to summon this. I mean, there's definitely ways to summon this, but I'm not picturing any right now. This is gonna be an interesting one. Aitsu, the Light Monarch. This is gonna be a fun one. Look at Aitsu's little head just... Look at Aitsu's tiny little head just sticking out of Karaza's body. So... Okay, what are we reading here? So to summon this, we need the Shining Winged Beast and a Dark Rose Dragon. I don't think either of those exist. The 3 are together with a Crescent Sword. This card gains 1,500 attack and defense for every 500 attack and defense you control. Oh shit, so you mean to tell me that this card by itself, for every 500 attack and defense you control, so... This is on 2,800 attacks, so you have like 500 attack and defense 5 times just in Aitsu alone. So it gains 1,500 attack and defense 5 times, so you mean to tell me this thing's gonna have like 10,300 attack just to start? Also seeing nothing saying it can't just like cheat this out of the extra deck either with something like Cyberstein or Waking the Dragon, so... Yeah, I'll just go and cheat out this 10,000 attack beater that's probably gonna have even more attack than that. While this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent for each of their banished cards. Please, for the love of fuck, do not ever let this card come out. Sincerely, a Gren Maju player. Yeah, like, you don't even have to have properly summoned this thing first. Let's just say there are going to be other decks out there just dedicated to, like, banishing cards. I mean, Kashtira. Kashtira exists and it's going to just get more support, like, in not even a month. So just banish 8 cards, dump this in your graveyard with, I don't know, something like Ultimate Slayer. Or Dogmatica Punishment. Just probably, like, many good ways to dump this into your graveyard. And if you just get, like, 8 of your opponent's cards banished somehow. Or if you're playing against Gren Maju, they'll basically just do that for you. I think? Well, they'll definitely do it for you the first time if they don't see it coming. You'll just basically OTK them. I don't know, just... I can imagine, like, someone trying to find a way to just dump this... Wait, also, Gale Dogger's a thing, too. Pay 3,000 life points, just dump some extra deck monster into your graveyard. That will get it there first turn. And I'm just trying to imagine how to do, like, how you can just banish, like, 8 of your opponent's cards in, like, the very first turn of the game, because there's probably a way for, like, people to just FDK with this. And then I haven't even read the second half of the card yet, and I already said no. Once per turn, when an opponent's monster activates a card or effect, you can distribute this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it, and if you do that, destroy it, then destroy it, and if you do that, add that card to your graveyard. If this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can destroy it. I wonder if Aitsu, the Leg Monarch, likes being destroyed. I'm gonna read this one more time. You contribute this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. And if you do that, destroy it, then destroy it. And if you do that, add that card to your graveyard. Or if you special summon this from the graveyard, destroy it. Infernity Vanisher, Fiend Tuner, level 1. During your opponent's main phase, you can discard this card to negate their main phase! And add 1 Fiend-type monster from your graveyard to your hand. Negate their main phase. Holy shit! So, let's just say you're going second. I don't know, you're going second here. Discard this card. Wait, there has to be a Fiend-type monster in your graveyard. Does there have to be a Fiend-type monster in your graveyard to add to your hand already for you to be able to, like, negate the opponent's main phase? I just picture this being way more devastating on the very first turn of the game, because they're not going to have a battle phase or a main phase 2. So if you can negate the first turn player's very first main phase 1, that just... if you make them skip that part of the turn, they just go straight to their end phase. And add 1, discard this card, and add 1 Fiend type. So I'm guessing there has to be a Fiend type monster in your graveyard to add to your hand. I'm just trying to imagine how, like, on the very first turn of the game, if you're going second, how you get another Fiend-type monster in your graveyard to just throw this in their face, make them basically skip their turn. But, like, if it's not the very first turn of the game, like, if you make someone skip their main phase, if it's their main phase 1, they go straight to their battle phase, and then they still have their main phase 2 to set stuff up in, so it's basically like a battle phase skip, more or less. Because ideally they want to just commit to the board and then start attacking, but you'll make them just commit to the board without having, like, stuff on board to attack. There's probably some, like, esoteric way for this to get completely abused. Yeah, just someone's probably gonna, like, find a way somehow to just get another Fiend monster in their graveyard. Going second, then discarding this to basically just skip their opponent's first turn. I want to see what some of the comments say about negate the main phase. Based Infernity support, in my opinion, yeah. No one's talking about how cool the art would be if it was actually high quality. Hand trap, turn skip that recycles itself. Oh, it recycles itself, too. Wait. So, does the Fiend monster already have to be in the graveyard to resolve the effect, or can you technically discard this and then just add itself back with its own effect? Because if that is how the card functions, 100% fuck no. Like, no way this could ever be a thing if that's how it functioned. Even if it didn't, this still probably couldn't be a thing. Even if there would have to be, like, some crazy workaround to somehow get another Fiend-type monster in your graveyard to properly resolve it, still. Forcing your opponent to skip a turn outright is just way too much for any card to do. Hand trap, turn skip that replaces itself. Well, Max C, quite frankly, does that too, and it's banned for a reason. You can just infinitely negate your opponent's main phases. Add 1 Fiend-type monster from your graveyard to your... There's not even the once per turn on this! So if it discards itself, it can just add it back. It can discard itself and just add it back on their main phase 2 as well. No, fuck this thing. I don't want to think of the logistics behind, like, just negating all the main phases. Fuck this thing. The Unending War. Trap card. What? Skip your next duel. So, what happens if you skip your next duel? You resolve this card, you play out your duel as normal, and then the next time you have to play a duel, you skip it, and I guess therefore you just automatically lose that next duel. So let's just say, I don't know, you're playing a best 2 out of 3, and for some reason you want to just, like, make yourself auto-lose next game. I guess you can. So you play game 1, you activate this for some reason, resolving its effect, and then you lose that same duel, and then you skip your next duel, so you basically just lose your second game already. But even better yet, like, is there some way to just force this onto your opponent's board for them to activate it, to make them skip a duel instead? To make them basically just automatically lose their next game? Yeah, I wanted to look up cards that, like, forced activations of trap cards. Yeah, Bait Doll is a thing that very much exists. Can target one set card in a spell trap zone, reveal that target, forces activation of a trap card. Sure, you can force its activation, but I can't think of any cards, like, at the moment that can just somehow force a spell or trap zone to be put into your opponent's spell and trap zone. I mean, like, if you can get that done and you have Bait Doll on hand, and then you can just force your opponent to, instead, skip their next duel. But then again, I think they can just, like, I don't know if they're, like, already just on a fast track to losing. They're gonna lose one game and then probably just, yeah, because of this, they'd lose the next. Can't they just concede before this can resolve? They could literally just, I'm pretty sure they could literally just concede. And then thus, they won't actually have to skip their next duel and just automatically lose it. I don't know, an ideal scenario I see playing out with this kind of effect is, assuming it does what I would imagine it does. You force your opponent to just, like, you try to force your opponent to lose their next game without actually ever having to play it, by somehow getting this card set onto their field, then playing Bait Doll to force its activation, and then the opponent decides to just concede the game so they don't have to just skip their next game. Yeah. And let's just say, I don't know, like, we're in a tournament and we're on game 3, and you make somebody skip their next duel. So you just basically tell your opponent, in a different match, mind you, that I lost game 1. Somebody resolved the Unending War against me. They made me activate. They made me skip my next duel, so you win the first game, buddy. Definitely the most thought-provoking card we've seen. Finally, a good target for the new triple tactics spell. If they made a card like this, like as a prize card in the style of the rest of the match winners, which can't be used in duels, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, that would be the ultimate joke. What happens if you play this in game 3 of Grand Finals? Does this affect the duel in your next match? I'm guessing it would. Nobody even wins, just move on to the next one as if that game never happened. No, it skips your next duel, though. But no, I'm pretty sure, like, if you still try to force your opponent to just auto-lose their next game, especially if they're already losing the game they're currently in, they're just gonna concede before this can actually go off. Just like Victory Dragon. I just want to pull up Victory Dragon before we go to the next card. Forbidden in the TCG and the OCG. Cannot be special summoned. You have to tribute 3 Dragon-type monsters to get this on the board. If this card attacks your opponent directly and reduces their life points to 0, you win the match. But yeah, your opponent can always just concede. If they're in a position where it's apparent that this can just beat them down to basically make their opponent win 2 games in one shot, not just one. Yeah, the opponent can just concede to prevent the effect of this card from actually taking place. I want to see if, like, there was anything on the rulings page that might have said, like, we had to make some exceptions for a card like this. Like, if the opponent somehow can present a winning game state where the Victory Dragon will, in fact, take their opponent's life points to 0, then they cannot concede. Like, you would have to make a loophole in the rules to literally accommodate this thing. Your opponent can concede the game at any time, unless they are specifically being attacked by a match winner card like Victory Dragon, and the game is in such a state that their life points will go to 0 from this attack, and their opponent will win the match from the matching effect. Just too many rulings nightmares, too many headaches, and just the effect is just game breaking. You literally can just win a duel without even playing it. And the rest of the cards that basically just mimic this card's style. Just swap out one monster type for another. They're all, like, made specifically saying in the bottom left corner they can't be used in duels. Is that a Gladiator Beast? It doesn't look like it. Gladiator Beast Enki. Okay, we got some interesting stuff in the text box already. Like this, no, not the fusion material monsters necessarily, the stuff after that. Gladiator Beast Laquari, Gladiator Beast Grozon, Gladiator Beast Octavius. This monster may look like a harmless Pegasus, but this monster has an outcast side that preys on the weak. When this fateful day reaches the end phase, and all warring monsters of the fusion monster equipped with Gladiator Beast monsters. I'm just gonna say no. Inflict damage to your opponent's life points equal to the attack of the monsters equipped with this card. So, does it say anything else about the equipped monsters? When this fateful day reaches the end phase. So I guess at the end phase? Just at the end phase in general, and all warring monsters of the fusion monster equipped with Gladiator Beast monsters. I don't know. I literally don't get paid to figure this shit out, so no, I'm not gonna bother. I don't even get paid to figure this shit out. Red Hand Shark. Okay. Is this like a card that actually exists, just with a slightly different name? When this card's normal summon or flip face up, you can target one level 3, 4, or 5 monster in your graveyard except Red Hand Shark. Special summon in the face down defense position. Oh, so if you want to play the Kickstarter backer for some reason, you can put him face down with this effect. You can only use this effect of Red Hand Shark once per turn, and then this, while it's on the field, you can only special summon water monsters. I think it's fine. Seems alright to me. Quick return. When a monster would be returned from the field or graveyard to the deck by a card effect, you can return those monsters to the hand instead. It's a really simple effect, but I'm thinking it might be a really OP one that should never be printed. Okay. Tearlaments are a thing. No. So, if you would put the monsters back into your deck to fusion summon a monster, you could just put those cards in your hand instead. Yeah. Then again, I don't know what most of them would do in your hand unless they're like Havness or like... There's gonna be like another like tier elements that can just special summon it, like can just like do stuff like on your opponent's turn. Yeah, I think this effect is still like too crazy. I'm just imagining tier elements monsters, I don't know, just putting more cards into their hand that, and even then like, yeah, I can just imagine just reloading their hand while doing their normal play, so no, don't print it. Okay, this is interesting. This doesn't look like... No, this doesn't really look like a beast type, but I guess we'll just roll with it. Shiny Black Body, the Accumulator. 2+ beast monsters. Got a 2400 attack, Link 3 beast. Once per turn, you can roll a 6-sided die until the end of this turn. Increase or reduce this card's link rating by that number. Holy shit, okay. And if you do, special summon one Shinobird monster from your hand to your zone this card points to by rolling a 6-sided die. The second die roll will actually have like no importance on the game state, so why bother? Do you have to have the Shinobird monster? Well, actually no, I think you can just use the effect, and if you don't have the Shinobird, I guess you just don't, like, I don't know. Increase this card's link rating, but then again, like, it's based off a die roll, so yeah, 6-sided die that's really hard to just control specifically. Once per turn during your main phase, you can roll a 6-sided die and choose one of the following effects. For the rest of this turn, you can only roll a 6-sided die. And this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls, if you control no other monsters. So that can attack all your opponent's monsters, but you can do nothing else besides that, or just rolling 6-sided die for no effects. If this card be destroyed by battle, you can roll a 6-sided die instead. You can only special summon shiny black body the accumulator once per turn. Yeah, sure, if this would be destroyed by battle, just roll a dice. It doesn't matter what we roll, we just roll. Yeah, I'm just gonna literally roll with it. This is definitely the kind of randomness we need, but we don't deserve. Literally speaking. Oh, the Banished. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing one light and one dark monster in your graveyard once returned during the standby phase. So, okay. It can go off during your opponent's standby phase, so it doesn't have to survive that long. Return all banished monsters to the hand. Okay. That's pretty crazy. It's not gonna return face down banished monsters because unless, like, it is like a banished card, unless the effect is not like checking any specific characteristics of a face down banished card, it can't return any face down banished cards to the hand, but still. Return all banished monsters, I guess. I guess everyone, like, returns all their banished monsters to their own respective hands. I'm pretty sure, like, it would make no sense for this to just put all of them into... It doesn't say put them all into your hand, just to the hand, so... I guess each person just gets their face-up banished monsters put in their hand. I mean, well, then again, like... You could probably just banish a shit ton of monsters and... Yeah, I can kind of see this just getting abused, to be honest. At first I read this imagining also face-down banished monsters getting put to the hand, but then I remembered the rulings around face-down banished cards. Yeah, if the effect basically, like, requires the banished cards in question to fall under a specific criteria or subset of cards, for example, monsters being a subset of, like, all the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that exist, then you can't basically just verify that the face-down banished cards meet that criteria. I'm still gonna say no, though, just to be safe. I'm gonna try my best to read this name. Illiterality Swordmaster? So this guy can't read or write, I think? Illiterality? Illiterality? Sounds like a guy who can't read or write, but he can wield a fuck ton of swords. 2 level 8 monsters. This card gains 200 effects. For each self-destruct... What are these 200 effects? For each self-destruct counter on the field. You can remove 1 self-destruct counter from this card, and then target 1 spell trap on the field. Destroy that target. 200 effects for each self-destruct counter on the field. Completely ambiguous as to what the 200 effects are, and let's just say if it wasn't ambiguous, how in the backflipping fuck would we be able to keep track of what effects it has? I mean, if it said 200 attack, obviously it would be fine. But then again, like, I'm guessing it would be like some illiterality archetype that just makes the self-destruct counters. Or some other cards that do it. Witchcrafter Formula Seal? Or you control spellcaster type monster. Negate any monster effect that resolves in the hand or face up on the field. Even if this card leaves the field. Oh wait, really? So for the rest of the game, if Witchcrafter monster has banished a card from your graveyard to activate its effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only leave its effect of Witchcraft Formula Seal once per turn. I feel like I would really have to just read this one a couple of times over before actually making a decision. Any monster effect that resolves in a hand or on the field. Any and every monster effect, like both players' effects, would get negated. Even if this card leaves the field, so if it's removed from the field. So does that literally apply for like the whole duel as long as there's spellcaster type monsters on your field? Because if so, I'm gonna say hell no. Yeah, the last thing we need is just more like super powerful floodgates. I mean, last ban list was literally for the most part just like a bunch of floodgates coming back into the game. Well, sure, they got rid of Mystic Mine, finally, but... what's the... Okay, what is this card? I'm interested. Oh boy. Granlet, Zanks, Oilis, Les, Moak, Super Jammer, Tigrele, Zikia. If this card attacks a defense position monster, it gains 1,000 attack during the damage step only. Once returning, you can send one effect monster you control to the graveyard. So you can send this to the graveyard, apparently. You can send itself for its own effect. Destroy as many monsters you control as possible, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. The name is completely and utterly batshit crazy. The effects, on the other hand, are perfectly fine. Just pretend this has like just a much more normal name, and then like you could definitely print it. Blowing up your own monsters do a little bit of burn damage, unless that burn damage kills them. Like, why the hell would you want to do that? I don't know, maybe unless you're playing like tier elements and then those effects just go off. This will do a little bit of burn damage, like at most. You'll send an effect monster, and then like you'll have monsters left over to just do the burn damage with, so at most 2,500. Because you'll just send one as cost, and then you'll blow up the rest of your monsters to do damage. Extra power Swords of Darkworm. So it's an equip spell. Once per turn during the battle phase, you can equip this card to another monster you control. When the equipped monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one other monster your opponent controls. Take control of that target. You can only control one of these, it's legendary. Take control of that target permanently, apparently. But the monster has to inflict battle damage, and it's an equipped card. Yeah, equipped cards have quite a few ways of being searched out compared to, like, I don't know, normal spells. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's, like, more support for equipped spells compared to normal spells. Also, like, on the other hand, equipped spells definitely leaving you just more vulnerable to just suffering card disadvantage just by using them, because let's just say you equip this and then your opponent kills the monster it was equipped to. You lose both that monster and this card, so you're just more like, you're just gonna like suffer more card disadvantage that way. But still, like, that's a pretty crazy effect to just... Yeah, considering, like, you get the monster, can do whatever you want with it. You don't even have to give it back ever at the end. Well, you have to give it back at the end of the game. It's their card, but... You don't have to give it back, like, until the duel's over, basically. Yeah, I'm thinking about this one. I don't know yet. I'm thinking on it. Yeah, the monster does have to inflict battle damage, by the way. I mean, I can still definitely see, like, the opponent just... I can still definitely see the opponent running this, try and also just find monsters that attack directly, just to make that more likely to happen. Yeah, I can kind of see this getting abused. Also, like... Wait, is there, like, a monster that attacks directly and can attack, like, multiple times? Let me check something. Lyra Lusk. Yeah, I think I recently saw... Is it Recital Starling that can attack, like, multiple times? No, it's a different one. I'm pretty sure it's a different Xyz. Independent Nightingale? No, it's not this one. Assembled Nightingale? This card can attack directly and up to a number of times. Each battle phase equivalent to the number of materials attached to it. If there's any card you want to put the Swords of Darkroom onto, it's this one right here. You can attack directly, say, like, I don't know, like at least 2 times. And then, yeah, because there's no once per turn on... Yeah, there's no once per turn on, like, inflicting battle damage. That part of the effect has no once per turn, so... Slap this on Assembled Nightingale and you can start stealing multiple monsters. Just to be on the safe side, I'm saying no. Just to be safe. Fire King Firewolf. Level 7 Synchro that takes a tuner and 1 or more non-tuner fire monsters. If Synchro Summon, you can draw 2 cards, and if you control 2 or more fire monsters, destroy 2 cards on either field, including a fire monster. Then shuffle those destroyed cards into the deck, then draw 2 more cards! Okay, okay. I was fine up until it said draw 2 again. Now I really have to think about this one. You can only use this effect of Fire King Firewolf once per turn. On either field, so you can pop 1 card on one field and 1 card on another field. I'm pretty sure. And one of them has to be a fire monster, but this thing can just pop itself. If you really want to just be able to get another 2 cards, this guy can pop himself with his own effect to, like, help get you there. So you can draw, like, up to 4 cards with this thing. It's a hard once per turn, but I don't feel comfortable about saying yes to a draw 4 Synchro Summon. Even if you need to be playing fire monsters to use it. I don't know, just don't feel confident just saying print it to a card that lets you draw 4. Even though it requires some setup. The Geroid, the Dark Dragon. Alright, we got another random vanilla with pretty pathetic stats for its level. The Geroid, the Dark Dragon. A dragon so beautiful. Now take one look at this and tell me if you think that this is beautiful. This hideous looking fiendish monster that looked like it just crawled out one of my deepest, darkest nightmares. This beautiful thing from my nightmare. So beautiful that it looks like a statue that was crushed by a car. A dragon that looks like a statue that got crushed by a car. The flavor text is making me imagine things that just don't make much sense at all. But the card itself, like, won't really do anything. You can just print it as pack filler. White Demi-Knight. Ritual monster, okay. Can ritual summon this card with Pact with the White Princess. This card name becomes Self-Servant while in the field or in the graveyard. More Skull Servant support. You can only use each of these effects once per turn. During your main phase, you can immediately normal summon 1 zombie monster from your hand. Wait, you can't even normal summon a white Demi Knight in the first place. It's a ritual monster. And if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to both players. During the end phase, while this card's banished, you can add 1 level 4 or lower zombie monster from your deck to your hand. This guy doesn't seem too crazy. I mean, it's a ritual monster, so it'd have to be, like, stupidly overpowered for me to, like, just want to say, no, don't print it. Or just make, like, 0 sense. And it falls into neither of those categories. Just assuming Pact with the White Princess is a real card, but I'm pretty sure it's not. I don't think it is, but we just hypothetically assume it was a real card. Arm Dragon Thunder level 2. This card is always treated as Arm Dragon level 2. You can target 1 Arm Dragon monster you control. Equip this monster from your hand or field to that target. It gains 3,000 attack. Holy shit. Okay. That's quite a boost. When an attack is declared involving it in the opponent's face, a monster, you can equip 1 monster your opponent controls to the monster this card is equipped to. The monster that this card is equipped to. Oh, this is equipment. So when you attack an opponent's face a monster, you can equip 1 monster your opponent controls to, yeah, like the monster you just equipped this card to. So I put this on some random monster, gains 3,000 attack. I attack an opponent's monster. I can equip that monster if I want, or another monster, off their field to the monster that already has the Arm Dragon Thunder level 2 equipped. Well, this as equipped to my monster. Negate that attack, and if you do, destroy as many face-up cards as possible on the field. And if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. Also, monsters your opponent controls cannot target the equipped monster, who is probably dead now, for attacks. I don't know, like, it's kind of a lot to take in. So you need like 2 Arm Dragon monsters, one of which is this, to basically just nuke the field. Inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed, so also a little bit of burn damage, because why not? Also, if you had like multiple copies of this in your hand, and just put them all on the same Arm Dragon monster, holy shit, would that be strong. Yeah, since you could put like multiple copies of this onto the same monster, I'll say no. I don't know, just watching a monster's attack balloon into like the 6,000s or 7,000s just is a little bit too much for me. Then again, like that would take 3 cards to do, but still. There's the rest of the text, and I'm kind of having a hard time just understanding it, so I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna say no just to be safe. Cosmona Lisa. Nice. Nice card. Target 1 Cosmo monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon 1 Cosmo monster from your extra deck with a different original type than that monster's. Also, for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck except Xyz monsters. Do these guys all like have the same type or no? Psychic and Machine monsters, so they do not, so... Do we even have, like, any, like, extra deck? Are there any extra deck, like, Cosmo monsters, or no? Or would people have to make them first? Ah, yes. My favorite female monster. Straw Man. Yeah, it doesn't say on this Yu-Gi-Oh wiki like which monsters are female. Like the other one has a list of female monsters, which this is on it. Because there's some woman's leg in the art. This woman's got her leg in the art, so technically it's a female card. Even though this dude is definitely not a woman. Is this like based off Wizard of Oz stuff, isn't it? Yeah, I saw a tin can and a scared lion. And a witch, so yeah, I'm thinking Wizard of Oz here. I'm guessing like none of these are extra deck monsters though. They're all main deck monsters. Yeah, basically. I guess print some like extra deck Cosmo monsters and then we can ship this. I guess print those first and then ship it. Wait, any Cosmo monster from your extra deck? I don't know, maybe like don't like make like the big ones like too easy to summon. Maybe just like make the big ones like only possible to like synchro summon or XC summon or whatnot, just to be safe. Tour guide to the world of darkness. Okay, I gotta read 2 text boxes, sweet. Cannot pendulum summon monsters except dark monsters, it can't be negated. Any card destroyed by battle is returned to the hand. If this card's normal or special summon, you can take 1 dark pendulum monster from your deck and 1 dark soul Xyz monster from your extra deck. Place them face up in your pendulum zone. If you do, draw 2 cards. Then place 2 cards from your hand on the top of your deck in any order, so that balances out the draw 2. When the opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can target 1 dark pendulum monster in your pendulum zone. Special summon it, and if you do, negate its effects. I don't know, because still, I'm no expert on pendulum monsters. So I can't just like take a quick look at it and just easily decide if it's too overpowered or maybe it's like not powerful enough. I just feel like I'm going to be more likely to just misjudge the power level on this card, since it's like it has to do with pendulum monsters. Yeah, I definitely recognize the tour guide. Elemental Hero Chaos Max. Level 12. 5,000 attack warrior. 7 hero monsters with different names in your graveyard and or main monster zones. Okay, the monsters can be in your graveyard, so... I'm just wondering still, like, how this would get fusion summoned. Isn't there a card that lets you just banish, like, hero monsters from your graveyard to do a fusion summon? I think it's this one? Yes, it's this one. This can summon Chaos Max. If you somehow get, like, 7 heroes with different names in your graveyard, then Miracle Fusion will have you covered. Must be fusion summoned. So you can't just cheat this out or anything. Neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck while this card is face up on the field. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can target 1 monster on the field, destroy it. This card cannot attack during the turn its effect is activated. When his card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon any number of elemental hero monsters from your graveyard. Really interesting boss monster. You can target 1 monster on the field, destroy it as a quick effect and a soft once per turn. When destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon any number of elemental hero monsters from your graveyard. This doesn't have, like, any protection like I imagine a boss monster this big would have. Just about anything can just, like, destroy it. And if it's not, like, destroy, if it's, like, thrown back into the extra deck or banished or whatnot, then you're not gonna get the, like, on destroy effect to go off. Neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck. I wanted to say no as soon as I read that, but you can actually just remove this from the field and then the lock no longer applies, unlike, say, Artifact Scythe. Or as soon as that hits the field for resolves, like, I guess you're shit out of luck. We'll try it. I'd say, like, try printing it, see what happens. Elemental Hero Necrofear Magnum. Made by fusing Elemental Hero Burstinatrix and Necroshade. Just seeing how long we've been live for. Okay, guess let's see if I can, stay live for about 30 more minutes or so. Also, just must be fusion summoned. Gains 300 attack for each Elemental Hero monster in your graveyard. Can't be destroyed by a battle except with a monster special summoned from the graveyard. At the end of the battle phase of this card, attacked or was attacked, you can shuffle it back into the extra deck. And then, for some reason, there's a hard once per turn on that. Nothing too crazy going on here. It's, for the most part, just really underwhelming at first glance. Sky Striker Airspace Utility Area? Okay, that's another Sky Striker field spell, I guess. Once per turn, you can target one Sky Striker normal spell in your graveyard added to your hand. This is a soft once per turn, so if you get like multiple copies of this field spell, you can do it like once for each of those copies. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard by a Sky Striker monster's effect, you can set one Sky Striker spell directly from your deck. That's not one of these. And that's a hard once per turn. I don't know, seems a little crazy to just be having like 3 of these. Being able to just use the first effect multiple times. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I've never played the Sky Striker deck. I mean, of course I know who Ray and Rose are, but I've never, like, played the deck, so... I'm not, like, the one to really, like, ask to just judge this thing's power level. Say if it's, like, okay to print, or it could never come out, because it would be way too good. I'm not quite sure if I want to say yes or no to this one. Because I know, like, the first effect is a soft once per turn, so if you get to use, like, this card multiple times, you can just add, like, spells from your graveyard to your hand multiple times. I'm just gonna only say no because of the soft once per turn on the first effect. Just to be safe. If that was also hard once per turn, then for sure, like, just print it. Okay. More Sky Striker. Support, I guess. Sky Striker Generations. Fusion. If you control no monsters in your main monster zone, fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. Okay, at least you can use monsters from your hand as fusion material, because if you couldn't, then, well, how the hell are you supposed to, like, fusion summon, like, with this card? From your hand or field, including a Sky Striker monster. So you'll, at most, be able to use one card off the field. If you have 3 or more... Okay, never mind. If you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can also banish monsters your opponent controls or in their graveyard as fusion material. We would have to just assume some Sky Striker Ace fusion monsters exist, which I'm, like, dead certain that none do. They'd probably only be, like, custom cards on Dueling Book, most likely. It would really honestly just depend on, like, what those Sky Striker fusion materials are on those hypothetical fusion monsters and how generic those are, because yeah, if the materials are super generic, then, well, it would be easy to just start clearing cards off your opponent's field. Also, banishing cards in their graveyard, that's pretty funny too, given just how, like, Tearlaments are still running amok. I mean, I'm thinking, like, super poly with this card, but it can actually be responded to. Interesting design. I guess I'd approve. Dynamorpheus Sweet Veil. Dinosaur Gemini. A level 4 Gemini monster. Okay. Freeze a normal monster while face up on the field in the graveyard. Then you can normal summon if it's on the field to be an effect monster at this effect, so as all Gemini monsters. They're normal monsters until you, like, normal summon them again to actually have them gain their effects. As opposed to, I don't know, them just having their effects as soon as they hit the board or something. For some reason, Gemini monsters had to just, like, make you go through an extra step. So they really, like, never did well in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Yeah, they never really did well in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of that, I assume. During your main phase, you can normal summon one Dynamorphia monster in addition to your normal summoner set. Exactly what Dynamorphia needs. A Gemini monster. That they'll probably never use, so I guess print it and just waste more cardboard. I guess just waste more trees. Wait, there is a card named Union Driver, isn't there? I'm like 99% sure there is. It literally just copied the name and flipped the image horizontally. It's literally like almost a copy of just with different stats and now no effect. It's basically just almost like a carbon copy of the actual card. Just remove the effect, give it like worse stats overall, and just literally like flip the image, mirror the image, and just call it a new card. The name's already taken, and even then, like, no one would really play this, but more importantly, the name's already taken. It's literally like fucking the same art, too. A Union Driver with a machine-like body and high level was known for its ability to unite all Union monsters. Well, no shit. Inari Prevent? Wait, why is this its attribute? Okay, I've never seen a monster have the Beast attribute before. Level 1 Beast attribute Aqua type monster. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, normal summon set this card without tributing. You can already normal summon or set this card without tributing. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard. So, like, if you were to even, like, use it to Link Summon or Synchro Summon or whatnot, you can add one Inari card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Is this an archetype? How many more Inari cards are there? Fire, Inferno. No, it's the same. So this can search up literally like only one card apparently. Okay, it still works. I mean, if this was like an actual like proper like attribute, say like Earth would make most sense for a card like this. Earth Aqua would be a weird like type attribute like pair though, but this definitely looks like it would be an Earth monster. I mean, if this was like a normal like attribute, I'd say yes to printing it. But literally just make like the 8th attribute for this one card that probably would never, like, I don't know if we'd ever see play. I doubt it. Utopic Driver. Alright, Earth attribute, Warrior Fusion. One Utopia monster and one number monster. This card is special summoned. You can target one number monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but negate its effects. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except fusion monsters. Also, destroy during the end phase. Once returned to your main phase, you can make all Utopia monsters you currently control become level 4. Not gonna lie, this is a weird one. This looks like it should be an Xyz monster, but it's a fusion monster. We're talking about number monsters. That's basically usually almost always, that's only always associated with Xyz monsters on fusion monsters, so I'm getting really confused here. No clue what this card wants to accomplish. I have no clue what this thing wants to do. Not to mention this would be pretty hard to fusion summon without just cheating this out of the extra deck with, say... Well, actually, it's an instant fusion target, so if you want to cheat it out with that, to just special summon a number monster in your graveyard, I guess. I guess you'll just have, like, another, like, Xyz monster on board or something. I don't know, I guess the best you can maybe do with that is try and rank it up or something. Actually, no, you can only summon fusion monsters for the rest of the turn after that point. I don't know what, like, purpose this thing is supposed to serve. Special summoning number monsters, which are typically, like, only Xyz monsters. And then locking yourself into fusion monsters. I feel like there's just a little bit too much going on here for me to, like, understand it. Or for any of it to even work. I'm just gonna say no. Too much going on for me to figure out if it even works. Discord recovery. When you activate a Discord card or effect, you can discard one Discord monster. Add one Discord spell or trap from your deck to your hand. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 12 Discord cards from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can only use this effective Discord recovery once per turn. 12 cards from your deck to your hand. Unless the archetype is literally stone cold unplayable. That is way too good of an effect. Hey, at least you can Ash it. And yeah, you better fucking Ash it. If that goes off, you have to Ash that. You can't, like, let the opponent just get 12 cards out of their deck. You're gonna lose. Unless, I don't know, like, half those cards actually don't do anything, or your opponent just isn't really good at the game. More VTubers on a live twin AI generated card. Again, I can see where this thing is going with the art. So one of them looks like Pekora, one of them looks like Gargura. I think that's who we're looking at here. Looking at live twin Mana Astra here. Level rank 2, Xyz. Sorry. This card can attack directly while in the extra monster zone. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card. Inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, and if you do, draw one card. If this face-up card on the field would be destroyed, you can detach one Xyz material from this card instead. I don't know if I could picture sprites having a field day with this one, just be able to draw a bunch of cards and, well, they can do burn damage. Well, yeah, it's technically another way just to go and do burn damage in the extra deck, so I don't know, like, it's another way to just win in time with the time rules we currently have. And, of course, like, you could just draw cards off this. I'd be honestly really interested to see just, like, how well this would perform in sprites. I mean, you can always ban it if it's too good. If this would be destroyed, detaching Xyz material instead, but only if it would be destroyed. There's, like, always the option to just put it back in the extra deck with some bounce effect or some spin effect. I don't know, maybe tribute it, banish it. I don't know, worst case scenario, they're gonna get, like, at least, like, one card or something off of this. If it's answered the turn it's summoned. 100 attack. So attacking directly is not gonna accomplish much with this. Live Twin Annienis. I don't know which VTuber this is, though. It definitely looks like another of those VTubers. So this, I guess this AI is just literally, like, randomly Googling pictures of VTubers whenever it sees, like, the words Live Twin in the card name or something. Instead of anything that looks like it belongs in Yu-Gi-Oh! No, we're just gonna start Googling random pics of VTubers and just rolling with it. Alright, Cyber's Tuner effect. Level 2. That makes perfect sense for a life twin card. When this face-up defense position card is targeted for an attack, destroy this card. When this card's normal special summon, you can banish one Cyberse monster from your graveyard. If you banished one monster from your graveyard, by this effect, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls, then destroy one monster your opponent controls. So you can pop 2 of your opponent's monsters. This does not target, by the way. I would have probably been fine with popping 1 monster, but 2. I have to think about it a little. This is a level 2, so Sprite players could also just use it. Yeah, I could definitely see, like, I don't know, if someone needs to just clear an opponent's board, just gigantic Sprite into this thing. Banish 1 Cyberse monster from your graveyard. Assuming they have enough, like, other, like, live twins lying around. Actually, like, are the live twin Cyberse or no? I think they are. Okay, they are, probably. They are. Well, the life twins anyways. There's like no once per turn on any of this, so you could... I don't know if you can find a way to summon like multiple copies of this. You could just blow up even more monsters. As if you even need to like destroy more than 2 monsters in one go anyways. I still don't know if I still don't know if like this is reasonable or not to print into the actual game. If it would be. I really had to think about it, though. That could have just as easily been a yes to printing it. I really had to think... Okay, I don't know. What am I looking at right now, though? Add 1 water dragon or 1 plant-type monster from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Aqua of life per turn. Any plant monster! How is Rika San Avalon doing? Because they would probably just... They would salivate over this card. Okay, it's a hard once per turn at least. And for some reason, if you need to add Water Dragon from your deck to hand, who is playing Water Dragon in 2023? I mean, it's fine, I guess. 1 plant-type monster, it's fine. I think? I could be, like, totally wrong, though. Got another ritual monster, apparently, though. The Agent of Nephthys. Spellcaster ritual. You can ritual summon this with Undying Flames of Nephthys. If you do, just destroy a spell and traps on the field during the end phase. If this card is in the graveyard, because it was destroyed in the monster zone by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card and banish it when it leaves the field. I guess that can only be applied after it was properly ritual summoned through the appropriate ritual spell, right? Like, just ritual summon it with a ritual spell, and then I assume that can just go off the special summon from the graveyard afterwards. Then banish when it leaves the field. When you ritual summon this, only on ritual summon, destroy all spell and traps on the field. And then this can kind of just come back once from the graveyard as a 2k attack and defense body. Also level 6. Having to use like at least 2 cards plus the monsters you're attributing for the ritual in question to just destroy all spells and traps on the field. I think it's fine. Yeah, it seems okay to me. Rainbow Warrior. Summon with 1 rainbow token. So does it specifically have to be the level 1 tuner rainbow token with 1,000 attack and 1,000 defense. So just one monster, you can go into this, I guess. If your rainbow token attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spell track cards until the end of the damage step. If you would take effect damage, you can take no damage. While you control a tuner monster, this card gains attack equal to the original attack of your opponent's synchro summon monsters. Also, you cannot activate monster effects until the end of your opponent's turn. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by your opponent's card, you can target one rainbow token in your graveyard. Tokens don't go to the graveyard, though, by the way. Special summon it. You can only use this effect of Rainbow Warrior once per turn. This is a weird one. Literally synchro summons itself with a single token, for starters. I don't even know exactly where you get the token from, but I don't know, I guess it's like the thought that counts. Oh, your opponent can't use monster effects until the end of your opponent's turn. While you control a tuner monster, your opponent can't use monster effects until the end of their turn? And then I guess it just reapplies itself again if you still have that tuner monster up, I think? So your opponent can't activate monster effects till the end of their next turn, and then if you still have the tuner monster, then that just keeps happening, I think? Oh, so the opponent can't use the monster effects while I have a tuner out. Oh shit, okay. Dang. It's just such a weird card, and it has the opponent can't use monster effects, potentially, so I'm just gonna say no. King Crush. I was gonna guess that was a dinosaur based on the art, but no, it's a dragon apparently. Honestly, I guess it could go either way. Alright, what is going on here? What is co-possessing? Once per turn, you can target up to 2 light dragon monsters in your graveyard, discard 1 card, and if you do, neither player can co-possess the same monster again during the end phase. If this card is tributed in the same ritual summon you co-possessed, you can destroy 1 face-up card you control instead. Co-possess? So, like, what? Like, would co-possess, like, basically mean, like, you somehow both control the same monster? Either player can control which same monster? The same ritual summon you co-possessed? How do you... Okay, it probably has nothing to do with, like, both players controlling the same monster. If you're talking about a ritual summon that you co-possessed. So, like, if this is tributed in a ritual summon that both you and your opponent somehow, like, contributed to, so, like, it's both your ritual summons, it's our ritual summon. I literally cannot understand, like, the terminology co-possess here. I want to see if, like, people in the comments have figured it out. Cute dino, though. New co-possession mechanic just dropped. I see I'm not alone here. Thought it had something to do with controlling the same monster, but no, it has something to do with rituals? Like, can you just literally... It sounds like you can literally just perform a ritual with your opponent and basically just both be, like, the player performing the ritual summon simultaneously somehow. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Co-possessing was the best addition to Master Rule 6. Inventing new game mechanics on the fly. Shadow of the Mizuchi. Okay, I meant to click the image. Pay 2,000 life points. Well, okay, if you want to just lose life points, I guess you can. I guess we can print it as some sort of like joke card that might actually have some hidden use. I mean, there's a card called Gift Card that literally just reads your opponent gains 3,000 life points. And I think it actually literally saw competitive play like in a few metas. Yeah, because there are cards that could just basically like, turn like opponent gaining life points into the same amount of effect damage, so you can basically just make Gift Card read, your opponent just gets burnt for 3,000 life points, which suddenly that's a pretty good effect. Pay 2,000 life points though, and then just do nothing with that. Except without the aid of some other cards. Alright, sure, just print another joke card. Goes crazy in Dynamorphias. There's probably a deck that benefits from this. Probably, but I just can't think of one. Well, I guess Dynamorphia, but of course, like, it has like cards in its own archetype that are just also letting you just pay like even more life points. Because the end goal of that is to just basically just establish a controlling board full of like powerful traps. And staying on low life points because the boss monsters perform at their best on when you're on low life points. And yeah, all those cards like actually do something. They don't just make you lose life points. Shadow Lighthouse. Continuous spell. You can only control one Shadow Lighthouse. Lighthouse Dragon and Lighthouse Lady cannot attack. Also, each gains one of its own effects that is different from each other. What the fuck? You can only control one Shadow Lighthouse. Lighthouse Dragon and Lighthouse Lady cannot attack. I assume this also would apply to your opponent's copies of Lighthouse Dragon and Lighthouse Lady, if for some reason that was a deck they'd ever be playing. Also, each gains one of its own effects. So one of both those cards gain one of their own effects that is different from each other. So these are two different cards. So Dragon would gain one of its own effects that it already has that is different from Lighthouse Lady? What the hell is going on here? I'm trying my best to understand this card. Just imagining a monster gaining an effect that it already has. That's redundant, isn't it? To gain an effect you already have? I don't know, unless it's like a soft once per turn. Can you use it again? One of its own effects that is different from each other. What is each other? Like, one of its effects that is different from each other effect? So, card has like an effect that it gains one of its own effects that's different from each of the that's not one of the other effects it has. So the card will gain one of its own effects if it's not one of its other effects. Okay, just I don't know, just copy like one of that card's Lighthouse Dragon or Lighthouse Lady, just copy paste one of its effects into like its text box a second time. But it can't attack. I just noticed it says you can only control one Shadow Lighthouse twice. How many times do I have to tell you? You can only control one Shadow Lighthouse! No, I'm gonna say no to printing this though. This would give so many people like headaches just trying to understand what the hell this means. I felt like I was about to just like go crazy trying to just understand that. Inzektor Overlord. Inzektor type. 3 level 4 dark monsters. Wait. 10 defense? If this card is Xyz summoned, you can apply these effects in sequence depending on the materials used and their orientations. What kind of orientations? Are we talking like gay or straight or like bisexual? No, forbidden, unknown, or unreal or fairy. and their orientations. Forbidden. Original attack and defense 82. Forbidden from battle or card effects. Forbidden from battle or card effects? So forbidden from battle, like it can't attack or be attacked, right? Forbidden from card effects, like does that mean it's unaffected? Or forbidden except during the damage step? Dry land! Unknown but not plant or zombie, but all belong to this card's owner. No. Unreal or fairy. Draw one card. Who do you sleep with if your sexual orientation is fairy? Unknown makes sense, but fairy? Or what about unreal? Who's your sex partner if your orientation is unreal? You can also special summon monsters from the extra deck with the same name as any of the monsters special summoned from the extra deck. Except dark monsters. If this card battles and you still control no monsters, but this card is battling, so you'll have a monster. So this one, the destroy all cards your opponent controls will never get applied. Such a beautiful mess. I love it, but no, you can never print this. Literally just making up like words on the spot at this point. Activate my effects. Dry land! No! I now draw one card. I love how it says, and you still have no monsters. Yep, I certainly understand that. It was all great until I read the effects. The Judgment Hand of Ra. Another vanilla here, I see. Judgment Hand of Ra, level 4 Earth Warrior. For those who swear by the Rising Sun deity to swear by their ancient power. These people are famous for their soft elbows. That's weird. Flavor text, sure. I don't know who's into specifically soft elbows. Ra is into some weird shit. What a soft elbow I must say you have, Merrick boy. Photon Charge Man? I think we're gonna just read the Photon Charge Man and just call it a stream. This card's name becomes Galaxy Photon while on the field or in the graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects of Photon Charge Man once per turn. During your main phase, you can make this card gain 200 attack until the end of the next turn. That's pretty tame. Only 200 attack boost. And it's not even permanent either. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can target one Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon you control or in your graveyard, banish it. Neither of the effects are like particularly like neither of the effects are like really that impactful. First things first, I'm not sure why you want to banish your own monsters unless your opponent's trying to steal them out of your graveyard, but still, like, I think it's a little too niche to want to be banishing your own monsters out of your graveyard and doing nothing else with that. And making this only gain 200 attack is pretty laughable. Considering we're on 1900 attack to start, so this will go up to 2100 from its own effect. Barely an attack boost at all. I mean, it's okay to print, like, the card's effects, like, all make sense. It's not, like, too powerful to put into the game. It's probably just gonna be, like, that kind of card no one would play. Not sure if I'm gonna read the other Photon cards, though. I also kind of want to just have some card art to look at while I'm looking at all this. But yeah, I'm gonna just stop reading AI cards here for now, and I guess sometime next week I'll probably do another stream of this, because I don't know, still having a lot of fun with this.